The more and more time passes, the more I feel like no one actually has faith in Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan, it almost feels like his seat is occupied by a ghost and not actually him. Ever since, let's think back to Monaco. Let's start with Monaco, because that's where all of this started anyways. Ocon and Alpine were already having their tensions. Jack Doohan was already the reserve. Monaco happens, and subsequently they announced that Ocon is gone. He won't be re-signing the next season. And then it becomes almost blatantly obvious that Doohan's probably going to be the guy. They had the tests at Paul Ricard between him and Mick Schumacher, and there's still a consensus by some people that the test was, I don't want to necessarily say rigged, but for lack of a better term, rigged for Doohan. They say Doohan went in the morning, Mick went in the afternoon, and the difference in conditions meant that Doohan's times were faster, even though Doohan wasn't actually faster. That's at least what Ralph Schumacher and some Mick Schumacher fans on the internet have said. And despite that test, come August, it was announced that the guy that was going to be filling up the seat that Ocon was leaving behind after this year was none other than Jack Doohan. And as we know right now, that's going to be happening a lot earlier than we thought, because Ocon won't be racing at Abu Dhabi. So Jack Doohan's going to be making his F1 debut next week. This week rather. I say next week. He's going to be qualifying this Saturday, and he's going to be racing this Sunday. But of all the rookies, even the tentative ones like Lawson and Colapinto, who haven't been confirmed yet. Colapinto is probably not going to be on the grid next year, in all honesty, unless in a reserve capacity and he fills in for somebody, but not full time. But of all the confirmed rookies, it just feels like Doohan's the guy. It doesn't even feel like Doohan's just the guy that seemingly nobody really believes in, that everyone sees as a stopgap, you know? And it's a shame. It is a shame. Antonelli, everyone's touting him up as the future of the sport, especially those that watched him in the junior series. I've watched him in F2 this year. At the beginning, when they were saying that he was going to be the guy to replace Sargent, I thought it was too soon. But since then, Antonelli has shown some pretty good pace in F2. And I'm no longer worried, especially with all the F1 testing he's been doing, the previous cars. I actually think he'll be pretty good next season. Same for Beerman. Beerman's done 3 F1 races this year, and he's finished, the lowest he's finished is 12th. He's got 2-point scoring finishes, including once in a Haas. Very good. But Doohan is still an unknown entity in terms of his prowess in a Formula 1 car. He's done a number of FP1s, but those are just practice sessions. You know what I'm saying? Those are just practice sessions. We don't know how Jack Doohan can race an F1 car. And I think that's one of the main reasons that the fan base of Formula 1 seemingly has no hope in this guy's future. Everyone else has been touted as, yeah, man, they're going to have a bright future. But Doohan just seems like a stopgap. And this became even more evident. It's not just in the eyes of the fans. Sometimes I wonder if the team itself sees Doohan as a stopgap. Because when Colapinto was popping off, like last month, I started to see unconfirmed rumors spreading that Doohan's contract had a 5-race performance clause, and if he didn't step up in those first 5 races of next year, they could replace him. And if they were to replace him, it seemed as though the guy that would be filling in for him was Franco Colapinto. Now, since then, we have it's seemingly been confirmed that both Red Bull and Alpine are no longer as pursuant of Colapinto as they were before. But it's still telling that they were at some point. It's still telling that Alpine were looking at Colapinto as a potential driver for next season, even though they had Doohan. And it just makes you wonder how confident these guys really are in Jack. Like, what do they see in Jack? Do they actually believe in this guy? I mean, I don't see any reason to not believe in Jack Doohan. Yes, he didn't win Formula 2, but he won 3 races in 2022 in his first full-time season. He won 3 races in his second season, and he got 3rd place in the championship. Jack Doohan always operated at a level in F2 that gave the impression that he was an above average driver. He wasn't just one of them journeymen. He wasn't just one of them young guys that paid to be in the academy. Jack Doohan showed talent in F2. He showed talent in F2 in literally the 2 little stints he did in 2021. Didn't Jack Doohan qualify P2 in Abu Dhabi in what was literally his second F2 weekend? In a season where he had done the full F3 season and had come into F2 after that season had ended? Jack Doohan had always shown prowess in the lower series. But he's suffering now from not being in a racing capacity in so long. Nobody has anything to judge him off of. You're as good as your last race. Jack Doohan's last race has been quite a while now. Yeah, it's been almost over a year since Jack Doohan has raced a car. And that kind of stuff adds up, man. When people haven't seen you race in a while, it's easy for them to jump to conclusions that you're not that guy. And I think with Colapinto no longer a threat, people probably think that Jack Doohan's life is going to be a bit easier. There's no one sniffling for his ride anymore. But again, even that's not confirmed because Paul Aron has been confirmed as Alpine's reserve for next season, which, honestly, I'm not particularly mad at. A lot of people are upset that it's not Martin's, and I get that. But when you look at how good Paul Aron has been this year, regardless of what the naysayers want to say, regardless of how good, when you look at how good Paul Aron has been this season, I know he's only just won a race, but if you look at his whole season, yes, he had a slump in the middle of the year that took him out of what was title contention. He was leading the championship at one point in that high-tech. Paul Aron has 4 poles this year and a win. And he was leading the championship at one point. And he wasn't with an academy. And that's what made him an anomaly in F2. Everyone around him, Hajar, Bortoleto, Bierman, Antonelli, all of those guys around him had links to F1 teams. He was the only person that didn't. And now he's Alpine's reserve. And it's easy to see why he's Alpine's specific reserve, because of Oliver Oakes. Oliver Oakes replaced Bruno Faman as the Alpine team principal, and we know that Oliver Oakes has high-tech ties. So it's not hard to believe that Oliver Oakes sees Paul Aron as a high-tech guy and somebody he's watched over the season and be like, yeah, I want that guy on my team. Forget Martins. Which sucks because Martins has been so unlucky, man. Genuinely. Victor Martins has been so unlucky. It's a damn shame that he's probably never going to race in F1. Because I had my gripes with Martins in 2023. Not because I didn't think he was fast. Not because I didn't think he had pace. Not because I didn't think he was a good driver. Because he kept making some mad mistakes, man. Martins was doing some mad stuff last year. But this year, he hasn't been doing any of that. He's just been unlucky. Whether it's somebody taking him out or his car dying. Just some madness has been happening to Martins, and because of that, he's nowhere in the standings. And granted, the same amount of stuff has been happening to Bierman in terms of unluckiness. They managed to find a way for Bierman. Same can't be said for Martins. Yeah, Martins just got the bad end, I guess. Unlucky that Paul Aron decided to pop off for high-tech specifically. But moving back to Jack Doohan, with these guys looking over your shoulder, I think the Paul Aron signing is something that Doohan should be very wary of, and I think he is. But this isn't about, I mean, yes, this is about the fear of Jack Doohan losing his seat. But the mere fact that people already think he's not going to be good enough next year, it kind of puzzles me, man. It just feel like nobody have confidence in bro. I don't think that's fair, man. I don't think Jack Doohan performed well enough in F2 for me to think that he could do something in F1, man. And look at Colapinto. It's funny that Colapinto is almost about to usurp Doohan as the preferred guy when, if you look at Colapinto's F2 stats, on paper, they probably weren't much to write home about. But when he came to F1, he proved everybody wrong. And you see the same with Bierman. Bierman, he was looking okay last year. He's looking very good. But when he came to F1 and he did them races for Haas and Ferrari, that's when people said, yeah, man, Beerman's the future. Same thing with Liam Lawson last year. When these young guns get chances, they performed. And that's why it seems as though more and more people are looking to younger drivers. Bortoleto has a seat next season. So why can't we afford the same to Jack Doohan? If all of those guys could cook on their F1 debuts, why can't Jack Doohan do the same? I have faith in Jack Doohan. That's what I'm going to proclaim in this video. I have faith in Jack Doohan to see out next season. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think the only team Alpine are going to be better than next year is Sauber. It doesn't really look that good for Alpine right now. I'm going to be real with you. But they always manage to turn things around. They really do. I don't think Jack Doohan is going to perform so poorly that he gets sacked next season. And if he does get sacked next season, I'm going to assume it's not going to be performance-wise. I have faith in Jack Doohan. I know a lot of people don't, but somebody has to. And I'm going to be that guy. I back you, Jack. I back Jack. There we go. I back you, Jack Doohan. I think he's going to do a decent job next year. Even if he doesn't set the world on fire, I think he'll be just okay. But it does bother me that between the paddock, his own team, and the people that watch Formula 1, it seems as though no one has confidence in Jack Doohan. And that sucks. In, turn out.